Well, hello, friends. Time for the weekly recap. This is going to go out on, I think the 28th, 29th. What is today? It's the 27th. Today's Friday. The 28th is Saturday, 29th. It's going to go out on the 29th. Okay, so a couple big things happened back office of the podcast this week. I crossed over to 100 YouTube subscribers. That took forever. My goodness. Thank you for all the followers. Really, really good. Very, very thankful. Also, we had 3,000 downloads, audio downloads, according to my hosting platform. So podcast data is kind of wonky and people watch it on YouTube, and some of the places that it's distributed don't get counted. And so whatever, but yay. I feel good about that. It was like it was like I was watching it work its way up, and I was like, yay. All right. So anyway, so for some shows we'll never get there. And other people it's a teeny tiny drop in the button in the bucket. Sorry, in the bucket. I think that the top shows get hundreds of thousands of downloads per episode. Those are goals, right? All right, let's talk about what episodes went live this week. One of the things that happened this week is that, and it happened to me in real time months ago, a couple months ago, I usually run about 60 days of lead time between recording and live episodes, roughly, not always. But in this week that I did a couple months ago of interviews, I interviewed a couple people that had very different worldviews than I did, that were maybe more or less apparent in the interview that you might not have noticed. And that put me in a spot to really think about what were the things that I wanted to do as a host, because this is not the Amy show. This is not where Amy comes, me, I'm Amy. This is not where I come to share my views of the world. This is where I open up to share ideas and stories of change. And that is the work of sharing other people's stories. So that definitely was something that happened in the interviews that came up this week, which is really interesting. And it put me in a spot to think about how I wanted to handle that. My opinion, which is just an opinion, and the number of people who should change their opinions based on mine is zero. But my opinion is that there's a lot of value and worth in being able to have a conversation and share ideas and perspectives from different points of view. Sometimes it doesn't work. That's fair. But other times, I think it's very, very helpful to have access to that and to be able to do that. And that I think is important enough to me to begin to really hold that as the line, and be willing to share stories from people who have different ideologies than I do. So there we go. All right. So first guest this week, Jocelyn Bates. Really sad story. She lost both of her parents very close together. A story of grief and of challenge and how she moved through. Very tough to listen to, but I'm thankful to Jocelyn for sharing it with us, and sharing her experience. It's easy to understand how that experience would change a worldview for sure. Deb Cryer, oh my goodness, such an uplifting story. So Deb went to the doctor. She was expecting a clean bill of health. She did not get that. She got a very grim diagnosis. And one of the things that came out of that story was that she went to the doctor's office alone. So the discussion question that I put up, I think, on social media is, at least in one of the places, is, have you ever been at the doctor's office alone and gotten news that was unexpected? It's an interesting thing to think about. So I've done a couple of interviews with people who are going through health diagnoses, these couple cancer diagnoses for sure. It's interesting to me how the people I've talked to have really uniformly been very, very optimistic and uplifting people. I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to channel it. I want to bring more of that into my life. Not the diagnosis part, but to be so grateful and uplifting as I go through. Then Mark Steven Poro. Oh, you guys, this is such a great story. So he went through a period of taking care of his mom as she went through aging and dementia. And I think that one of the things that I took away from this interview is that we all hope that there's someone in our life that will love us at our weak spots as much as Mark loves his mom. He tells a story in there about when it's not all roses. He tells the story of things that were going wrong, or not as you wanted, that brought him to this position. But then when he's in the spot, he's making his plan. He goes shopping. He says he goes on a shopping spree with his mom. They didn't hit the mall together because she was not there, but he was going to get her a new wardrobe as a way of making her happy and feel loved and comfortable. And it's a very endearing story. Really, really good. He's a very good storyteller. And it's an enjoyable interview and lots of good things. Then the next episode, Martha Burich, she's 70 years old. She goes on a fitness kick. You know how? Walking her dog. Love it. Love it. Absolutely adorable. Absolutely love it. You can make change in our lives. Don't we want to believe that, right? The change in our lives is possible at any point, whether we're 21 or 40 or 70. I sure do. I hope that's true. I mean, I'm sure there's a point where that is not true, but I hope it's true for more and longer in my life for sure. And then Saturday, Lisa Blaisdell, she and I talk about ending her relationship. So there are a lot of relationship stories on the show. I have talked to maybe more people about divorce and remarriage than the average bear, less than many other people, but it is a thing. I've had a lot of conversations over the years with people who have gone through this. They're all unique. They're all different. I talked to her about what was good about her relationship, which is a thing I like to do when I talk about relationships changing. And she has a phenomenal outlook on this process and what she took from it and rebuilding her life after. It's very, very interesting, and she's in a good place to tell this story. And if you are a person who likes to hear about relationships and transformation, or even if you are in a spot where you're questioning how to move forward with your relationship in your life, you might really enjoy it. So, kids, most of you are not kids, but pretty funny. That is the update from me here on Friday afternoon. You'll see this live on Sunday is when I will put this up. This is the second of the weekly updates. The last one got plenty of views, so we'll do it again and let me know if you like it. I have started putting discussion questions in all of the YouTube videos for every episode. I also this week did learn that a short on YouTube cannot be any longer than 3 minutes. That's another thing that I learned because Mark Poro's short was just over that and it counts it as a video. So there are discussion questions with the videos, and there's also discussion questions on Instagram. So in either of those places, you can join the conversation. I will be in there commenting. I invite the guests to come in and comment. It's fun. I invite you. Have a great week, and thanks.